The first initiative that I'd like to speak to very briefly is the whole initiative around, I'll call it employment, but really it's making sure that the individuals living with mental illnesses have access to employment. So it's about the labor force, it's about making sure that these individuals have equal access, but also at the same time for the community, both the professional community, the caregivers, to help fill some of the gaps that we think still exist when it comes to employment in the workplace, or employment for persons living with mental illness. First and foremost, I think that the whole notion around employment, the way that we've approached it with MICA, is through partnerships. We're a small team. We're a small board of 7 or 8 individuals that have a keen interest in the whole area of mental illness and supporting caregivers, and in return, obviously, supporting those that live with mental illness. But we don't develop product necessarily by ourselves. We work with others. So for us, in many ways, it's reaching out to the community, reaching out to the community caregivers, reaching out to the employers, the marketplace as a whole when it comes to employment, to make sure that if we see gaps, that those gaps are raised, and through whatever efforts in tandem with other people that we can bridge those gaps. We've Paul McIntyre and myself and others have found ourselves on multiple occasions, either in focus groups. We found ourselves at different board meetings, different events where we're trying to either inform the community in terms of some of the issues that are at play from our vantage point, things that we've picked up from the caregivers, things that we've seen ourselves that we sense that need to be addressed. The caregivers themselves play a very important part in this employment, part of the life cycle of the person living with mental illness. It's not readily understood the role that they play, but if you're a caregiver, you keenly understand that you're supporting the individual in real time. You're supporting them in actually seeking employment. You're supporting them in terms of finding that self-assurance that they need to actually take that first step to apply, to take that next step to be considered and to be interviewed if you wish. And ultimately, if you do get through that selection phase, to succeed on the job. What we're doing is we're tapping into what exists already. So we're borrowing from toolkits and trying to refine them, and then beta testing them at the local level to see if, through the introduction of aids, and in one particular instance we've developed a toolkit that is designed to help the employer understand the life cycle of the process, specifically as it relates to persons with hiring persons with a mental illness, and looking at it through a slightly different lens that they may normally look it through. And so that's, in essence, looking at ensuring that there's better understanding of the issues at play when it comes to even applying, and whatever accommodations or modifications in their process need to be brought into play. So we've helped design, actually through the effort of others, a refined toolkit. It's being beta tested in Belleville at a local level with a small enterprise, but it's the first step of many. And in essence, what we're trying to do is to make sure that we're equipping these people to better understand not only the issues at play from the point of view of the person living with mental illness, but also the caregivers. So giving them a sense that that support through the process is important. So it's not just a normal relationship between persons seeking employment and themselves. In order to wrap up, what we're trying to do is to make sure that that the employers and those that are doing the hiring recognize that there are various steps in the process, from the planning of the hire right through to the actual retention of the employee, and that there may be slightly different issues at play, and they have to be mindful of those to make sure that it's a successful hire.